Hello my friends, thank you so much for being here. So do you remember in a recent video I had mentioned the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Makeup and how I didn't currently have it on hand, now I do. And a lot of people back in the day, like I want to say 10-ish or so years ago on YouTube, a lot of people compared this to NARS Sheer Glow, said it was a great foundation. And after I picked this up again more recently, it kind of got my mind thinking about those products that people really went nuts over like a while back on YouTube, and they're still available to this day, but it's like just the sheer fact of more and more products coming out, things changing, blah, blah, blah. These things that were absolute sensations on YouTube for a time kind of get swept under the rug. So I was just thinking about face. I thought, let's do like 5 products that I feel like come into this category, and they're all part of the face routine. So yeah, one of these is the Neutrogena Healthy Skin Liquid Makeup, and this does have SPF 20 in it, and it's a beautiful, like lightweight foundation. Let me know if you're still using and loving this to this day, but it just really had a hot moment, you know, years ago on YouTube, and a lot of people compared it, like I said, to NARS Sheer Glow, which is another nice, lightweight, kind of radiant looking foundation on the skin, not by way of having a bunch of shimmer flecks and big loud stuff going on, but it was just a beautiful, radiant skin-like looking foundation. So I retried this the other day and I was like, wow, I like it even more than I remember. And it should have a pump. You can tell it's old school when you gotta just twist off the cap. I mean, very few foundations come out like this these days. But I'm just dabbing it all around, and I have the shade Buff, by the way. But I enjoyed it back then, and I never had NARS Sheer Glow to compare it to. I never could like draw that line between the two for sure. But now that time has passed and I have tried NARS Sheer Glow, like I really see what people were talking about now, and I think this is a really pretty foundation. So I'm using my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, as I often do if I'm not using a beauty blender. And I'm just dabbing this around, and I think it looks so pretty. And it's just completely in line with some of the very popular foundations that are out right now, because I feel like there's a lot of like kind of somewhat radiant looking foundations, medium coverage foundations from a variety of brands, It Cosmetics, Charlotte Tilbury, Kosas, etc., etc. I feel like this maybe isn't giving me quite the coverage of Kosas Revealer, but a really similar sort of juicy, hydrated, pretty look on the skin once I've blended it out. And I just think it's lovely. And I also do see the comparison to just NARS Sheer Glow, which was always the main thing this was compared to. And I just think, yeah, I believe that's very accurate. The formula is nice and thin, and it makes my skin feel, you know, I already had a good amount of moisturizer on, but it probably added a little hydration in there, but not too much. But like, isn't that nice? I mean, this was hot stuff back in the day. If you like a good glowy foundation, medium coverage, you might give it a look. Now, one thing that it's sometimes hard to gauge in a store because they don't always have it all perfectly stocked, the shade range. As I'm scrolling through here on Walmart's website, it doesn't look amazing. You know, it's not huge. And that's sort of the progress we've made over recent years, is products coming out with a much more expansive shade range. However, I could kind of see them saying that this is not like a super full coverage product, and maybe one shade could accommodate several tones. Perhaps I could see them making that argument, but I could also see them saying that it's fallen off a little bit in popularity and hasn't constituted the need to really dig in and make this like a 40 or 50 shade line. There are other options out there for a glowy makeup. Here's another one that I think of, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. That's another great foundation pick that would come in more shades, but just throwing this out there. This used to be hot. Now it's not so much hot, but I think it's great. Here's another product that I think continues to be fairly popular on YouTube. I mean, I certainly like use it on a regular basis, but I actually remember back to when these were newer products and they were really making waves in the concealer world. And this is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser, and this is the shade called Brightener. And so you got your little puff style applicator there, which of course Maybelline has carried on into their glowy makeup as well. But I'm going to take this around. I just used this the other day as I was doing 3-minute makeup on TikTok. This was my concealer choice. But I just remember YouTubers really falling for this stuff. And I think for good reason. Like, it's a good thin concealer. It's thinner than, you know, e.l.f. Camo concealer. That being said, not quite as much coverage, but it still does a darn good job. I mean, look at what's happening here. And I'm blending it out with the same little brush that I used for my foundation. And I do look really brightened now on my under eye area, just with that one step. Sometimes I take that and I layer either another concealer from that line, like the one in Fair, or just some other concealer in general over top, but now I've really enhanced the coverage of the entire look. Also yesterday, as I was getting stuff done around the house, I noticed that the movie Coal Miner's Daughter was on CMT, I think it was. It's like the life story of Loretta Lynn. I had never seen that before. That's a really good movie, like very, very compelling. I love real life stuff like that, but interesting. Anyways, the e.l.f. contour palette. People were gaga for this, and you know what? Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed other than the fact that they've put it out now with a clear window in front. This is a fantastic product for bronzer and contour in one, and kind of an all-over face powder and a light powder under the eye. I mean, it's a good product. The textures in here are great. I'm actually going to use that light powder and just dab it in. And I remember this powder being so soft, and the textures really are nice. And I can use kind of some of the other shade. I'm going into this more like buttery looking shade, and I realize this might not work for all. Can't remember if they have a deeper tone in this or not. I know they have two tones in their bronzer palette. I think a contour palette obviously would call for two tones as well, but that lightest powder does have a little luminosity to it, but it's nothing like major. I can kind of bounce back, actually just bounce my brush back between the two. And if you want sort of the combo of brightening and just a nice lightweight powder, you've got it. But the big thing here is how nice the textures are. Like really soft, pigmented, easy to apply. I feel like this was such hot stuff for a time. And I'm thinking about myself there, but for a lot of other people too. Many people love this. But time passes and things fade. And that's kind of the unfortunate thing about just makeup. And the fact that YouTubers also know what gets views, you know, it's covering the new stuff. I'm going into now the deeper shade here. So new stuff comes out, that's where your viewership comes in. You feel like that's where your survival on YouTube comes from. So you're not as compelled to dig back into this stuff, but I think it's kind of fascinating. You know, just using this, thinking about all the other different products of this nature that I've used since this product's heyday, and it's like, yeah, this can totally hang with everything else. I'm going into that darkest shade. It's like a cool contour. And look at the impact that makes. I mean, y'all are probably a little bit scared for me right now with what just went on. But it's totally blendable, easy. Look at us here. I mean, I'm so pleased with that. The powder is so soft, it can really blend and move and just be so easy. And this is the deepest contour shade that I'm working with here. I mean, it could suit quite a few skin tones. Okay, now I'm just gonna bop right into that shade that I would call like a soft bronzer, and just kind of let that come up here too. So we got pretty light on the under eye, and this will just give a little more life. Yay, beautiful, loving the complexion. And then I was thinking about the Milani Rose blushes. And these, again, I think people still respect and love these. I think people think, yeah, they're a quality product, but they don't get quite the buzz that they once did. And I mean, they're so good, guys. They're so pigmented. And I know people love Luminoso from Milani, and that's a product that has continued to, I think, receive a lot of hype over the years. But these are so pretty looking, and not to mention the color payoff is gorgeous. This is Romantic Rose. This is your kind of dusty rose of the collection. And, you know, still sold to this day. Look, they're easy. They're soft. Look at that pretty little delicate blush. Get after it, my friends. Like, dig it up if you got it. It's so pretty. And there's something about matte blushes too, that if you also use them at the tail end of your look, like a little finishing step, matte blushes can really kind of blur things, you know, like up around the pore zone. So it's just like, I don't want to stop. I can see it. It's at a beautiful level here. I don't need to keep going, but I love that blush. Finally, I'm going to finish this face routine with a highlighter that was hot, 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 like making it into mine and probably many other people's like end of the year favorites, Emily Awards, whatever. It's the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter in the shade Be My Highlight. This kind of got the reputation for being a really pretty natural highlight in a sea of very metallic, very loud, super duper shiny highlights. Like this was the one where it's like, oh, that glow is so pretty. Maybe we do like the subtle glow. So I'm going to pop this right here on my cheek and maybe you can see where that went. See how it's soft and subtle? Just look for a moment at how real that looks. You can get up close and examine my cheek and you're not going to see makeup there, but you are going to see a really pretty just sheen to the surface of the skin. So I'm using my Real Techniques setting brush to apply this because I just think it's a really good shape and size. I've been like 100% into this for powder highlights. And I feel like this cheek on camera, maybe it's just the way my lights are set up, like it never catches the light the exact same way the other does, but that's okay. We can swirl it up here. I mean, glowing, healthy, radiant skin, like people were in love with this and for good reason. So the catalyst for the video, the healthy skin, I love this. I'm going to be using this so much more. I think it's so pretty. It wore really well on me for the last couple days that I've been playing around with it. And it can totally hang with those higher end things that are out right now. The Instant Age Rewind Brightener, I mean, this has never been far from reach for me in my collection. But I would say it was wildly popular for a time. The e.l.f. Contour Palette, like doing so many things well. High quality product, multitasking product, could become an eye look as well. Milani, we know Milani slays blushes in a variety of forms, but this rose blush, these need to get back on the map again. And then the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, like that's so lovely and just an easy, quick way to get a glow that seems like, what? Where's that coming from? So that's like my 5 mini re-reviews on older products I'm kind of bringing back, and now I think I'm just going to finish my look and I will show you how it all turned out at the end. So just to show you how the whole look came together with a finished eye and lip, I did my brows. I'm kind of still working with this Too Faced Born This Way Sunset Stripped palette, which I can tell you right off the bat, I do like it better than the original Born This Way palette, which I wasn't a huge fan of. By the way, the scent on this, it's very like perfumey. I can get kind of a sunscreeny vibe out of it, but not purely. It kind of reminds me of like different sort of airy, outdoorsy perfumes that I've smelled. But anyway, I'm wearing that on my eyes. I've got a lot of this shade. That's the shimmer on my lid, and then working in a variety of deeper mattes as well. I put on a lash today. And then on my lips, I'm wearing this from Rare Beauty. I've had this for a while, but just haven't gotten a lot of use out of it. It's the Dewy Lip Balm in the shade called Support. Really pretty, like deep, dusty rose, a little bit of burgundy in there as well. So anyway, my friends, that's my look. I just really wanted to focus on those face products, and I thought, you know, instead of just doing a video all about Neutrogena Healthy Skin, I thought I would pull back in some of those things that just really got a lot of buzz and hype in the earlier days of YouTube. Not really the earlier days of YouTube. I started in the earlier days of YouTube, but a little ways in, I remember some of these things just getting a lot more love than they currently do. And it's fun to bring those things back in and really think about them now in comparison to the many other newer things and say, are they still good? Well, yeah, they are. And I feel like this is the kind of video that I could do many times over. You know, here's 5 more. A lot of people enjoy the I Remember series that I've done. I could do that some more too, because that's kind of fun to bring in an old palette and kind of re-review in the context of everything that is currently new. And my friends, if you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. That helps my channel a lot. Even though I've been on YouTube a long time, like it definitely takes your help to continue to make my channel visible to others out there and get recommended to others. So your engagement, your comments, and your thumbs up, it's just such a big deal. So thank you so very much. I appreciate it, my friends, and I will see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.